Hi, this is Gary with MacMost Now. On today's episode, let's look at some of the calendar functions inside of Automator. So first, a quick look in my calendar here. I'm using Mountline here, so it's calendar, not iCal, and I've got just a couple of appointments here that we could see this week. Now let's switch over to Automator. And in Automator, we're going to create a workflow here, but you can create an application as well. And we're going to access some of the calendar functions in here. So for instance, go into calendar. We can see them all here under the calendar subheading in library. And let's go and do the, let's do find calendar items here. And we're going to drag that into the workflow. And here we can do a little search. We can find events where all the following are true. Let's set it for date starting is this week. So it's going to find all of the events for this week. Click on the results here and we can see the results of that. So I can run this and I can see it will find those three events that I showed you before. Okay, so let's do something with these. Let's hide these results here and let's go and use something called Event Summary. An Event Summary, if you click on it, we can read the description here. It creates a summary of the calendar and events passed into it. So let's drop that here and you can see there's a link between the two of them. It takes the output from this first action into the input for the second action here. And we can see results here. Let's run it and see what we get. We can see here it actually creates some text, and this text basically is reading off those three events and some information about them. So where can we go from here? Well, what would be nice is if you could actually hear the summary of those events. Say if you want to have something read to you while you're driving to work in the morning, you can actually use something here in the library where it's going to speak the text. Let's search for speak and it'll be speak text. So put that here and it's going to take the output from the event summary and it's going to speak it here. We can pick which voice we're going to use. We'll just use the default and then we should be able to hear it when we run it.
Total events 3. Event 1 OF3 summary. Dentist appointment.
Now it would be nice to hear that while driving, but this is just going to play it on our Mac. So let's do something a little different. Let's get rid of speak text here and instead let's go down to the text subcategory, and there is a handy one here where it'll do text to audio file. So it's similar, and you can even see you can get the voice here just like before, but instead we're going to save it as a file. So we'll do CalTalk as the name of the file. We'll save it to the desktop. It's probably better if we save it to a special folder that we create for this, since we'll be creating a lot of files every time we do this. So under Documents we'll create a CalTalk folder and set it to there. Great. So now when we run this, it will just do that. If we go into the Finder and we look under CalTalk, we can see that it has created this audio file here that we could play and hear.
Total events 3.
Hear what we outputted from a calendar. So now let's go back into the workflow here in Automator and let's do something else. Let's go ahead and email this. So the mail actions aren't as straightforward, but we can create a new mail message. Now what's going to happen is we want the output of this audio file action here to go into the new mail message. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new mail message here at the top before we do anything else. Since we're not taking any input into this script here, we're going to create the new mail message and we're going to send it to ourselves, okay, and we're going to just attach a subject there, nothing in the message, and that will start a new mail message. So it's going to launch mail if mail isn't already running. Then it's going to continue to find the calendar events that we want. Then it's going to create the event summary, save it to an audio file, and then the output from this text to audio file is going to be a link to that audio file. So we can look here and under mail we could add an attachment to the front message, and we want to add this file to that message. So let's look what happens now when we run it. So we can see what happened here is it opened up mail, created a new message, put the subject in there, and it created the audio file and then it attached it to this email. Now we could stop there and just have it be a two-step process. One is you run the script and the other is you finish sending the email. But let's have it send the email anyway, and since there isn't an action we're going to have to cheat a little bit and you record an action. So recording an action will record the steps that you perform by mouse and keyboard. So let's hit record now and then let's switch over to mail, and then in mail I'm going to hit Command-Shift-D on the keyboard, which is the shortcut for send. Now there is no message to be sent here, so I just get a little error beep. That's okay because it recorded the action anyway. If I go back to the workflow I can see it recorded me switching to mail, which I don't need because after you add an attachment to the front message it's already going to be in mail. So I just deleted that one, selected it and deleted it. Then it's going to do press Command-Shift-D, which should send the email. So now if I run this it should do everything as it did before but also finish by sending the message. Now one of the problems with doing a manual command like pressing Shift-Command-D under a watch me do action here is that sometimes the script hasn't finished doing this, or mail itself hasn't finished doing these actions, and then the script goes ahead and issues that keyboard command and mail isn't ready. So sometimes it'll send, sometimes it won't because that command gets sent too early. So I'm going to search for the pause function here, put a pause just before this and build in a 5-second pause. And this won't guarantee that it gets sent, but it should make sure it gets sent most of the time. So let's run it now and we can see it creates the message, creates the attachment, and then after a few seconds it should send it. And there it goes. Now when I check my email, here it is. I just got the email message, I've got the attachment, and I can play it right here in mail.
Go to Events 3. Event 1.
Now I really can listen to it in the car because I of course get my email on my iPhone and the attachment is there.
Events 3. Event 1 F3 summary.
So your last step may be to either save this as a workflow or if you had if you want you could save it as an app so you can put it somewhere where we can easily run it like in your dock. And then it should run by itself and grab your weekly events. Of course you can alter what you're doing here, find events with the date starting today for instance, or you can set up a whole bunch of other date parameters and you can add additional parameters like for instance that the event is marked as something or has no or has an attendee name. Anything you want in here. There's all sorts of different things that you could put in to the search for the events, so you only hear certain events from certain calendars with meeting certain criteria. So hope you found this useful. Till next time, this is Gary with MacMost Now. If you found this video useful, there's one thing you can do for me in return. It won't cost you anything and it'll just take you a few seconds. If you're not already at MacMost.com, go there and then look for the video you just watched and go to that page. Underneath the video you'll see a bunch of different links that help you share the video with friends. Take a second to click the like button. This sends a signal out to the rest of the internet that the video is worth watching. Thanks.